So in today's Worth in a video, we're actually going to be going over the unique and interesting things that I found throughout the dev server that I think is actually kind of important to talk about. So as we see right here, we have the Panther II. This thing actually can now look like a Panther APHE if you wanted to, because you can actually install this. I think they got this a little bit bugged. But if you install that, you actually remove your night vision equipment, which means that you can literally look like a Panther APHE, which I think is going to be very advantageous whenever it comes to ground battles, because if you can't tell what tank you're facing, and let's just say that you're in a Jumbo 76 and you think it's just a Panther APHE and you might be able to bounce on your upper frontal plate, well, you'll be wrong. It's a Panther II with the long 88, and you will basically be knocked out. So yeah, we can see right here, there's another huge thing to this actual like night vision equipment being removed, is right here, you normally had like gun depression issues of where you could not depress the gun to its maximum thing. As you can see right here, we are almost touching the little driver's hatch, I do believe, which I think is a little bit crazy. I mean, it does move back up if we move it over here, but I feel like if we go test it out on the other one, which we look at our actual gun depression with the night vision equipment on, it should be a little bit worse. I mean, we can look at it right here. As you can see, there's like stuff in the way, right? So let's go test it out right quick again. But if that is the case, and this is actually removed, that like gun depression like problem, then I feel like for a lot of people, honestly, I'm not sure. I think it's kind of still there in a way. I mean, yeah, you can directly clip through it. So maybe it's like not there anymore, question mark. I mean, look at that. It's like literally clipping through it completely, which probably will get fixed in the dev server updates or something. But yeah, I mean, like not being able to know what tank you're facing is a very huge strategy in War Thunder. And to be quite honest with you, even though it's a very iconic vehicle with the night vision equipment, I'm personally going to be removing it. So next we have here is actually some new-ish gun sounds. If you played War Thunder back in the day, probably like 2014 to 2016, War Thunder used to have very unique and distinct sounds for pretty much every single tank in the game. I was actually kind of sad they took it away because they pretty much made every single vehicle sound very generic and also sound the same. But now it seems like we went a full circle with the sound updates. And well, let's just let it hear it yourself. That echo is just such a memory trip, man. I really enjoy this, but let's listen to a couple more of these. So here's the IS-2. And then personally, one of my favorites in the whole entire game, which is the Chieftain Mark 10. This tank literally sounds like the sniper from like Halo 1 or Halo 2 whenever it fires. It's just so good. But also, one thing I do want to show, this is a 120mm cannon, but let's move over to the Ariete, which is the new premium that you can find within the Italian tech tree. And even though it's a 120, it's going to sound different because each unique cannon has a unique sound, which was always a really, really cool thing. So I mean, like, yes, it's going to be the same exact sound as like the Leopards and all that sort of stuff. I mean, just listen to the difference. There's an actual unique sound, which I think honestly is just better than having pretty much the most generic sounds in the whole entire world. See, it does not sound anything like the Chieftain, even though they're both 120mm cannons, which I think honestly is just pretty cool. So the next thing we have here is we actually have a new stat card whenever it comes to the War Thunder ammunition. So as you can see right here, we'll put a comparison image of the differences, but this one looks a little bit more modern and a little bit different. So if you look at this, it looks a little bit confusing at your first glance, but once you actually get used to it, you'll actually understand what it does. The bottom down here is probably the most important thing because it has your 0, your 30 and 60 degree angles whenever it comes to penetration. But instead of it going down, it's actually going across now. So at 10 meters is the first one. You have the 2,000 meters at the very last one on the very right. But the thing that is actually kind of more important about this stat card is that they've actually introduced a way to see overpressure damage, which I think is a little bit more reliable to know what it can do. So if you see here where I put a little square box at it, it says armor penetration 48.6 millimeters. This is your high explosive damage and pretty much your overpressure effect. Whenever it comes to like howitzer cannons and stuff like that, it's a little bit confusing to know how much like just the round itself can pen from its like overpressure effect. So it's very easy to see now. As we see right here, if we go down to this one, this other round is 3OF25. It is at 62.1 whenever it comes to its armor explosion fragmentation, which is just a little bit cool to see. Also at the very top, you have more generic stuff like your muzzle velocity, your penetration, and also your TNT equivalent, which I think overall is pretty cool. All right, so now we're looking at Naval, and I know I've lost most of you whenever it comes to viewership on this video, but trust me, this is actually a pretty interesting change. If you've ever complained about Naval whenever it comes to the aiming effects, well, Arcade now basically aims for you, which I think is a little bit controversial because a lot of people do enjoy Arcade just because it's a little bit quicker, and also you get torpedo reloads, and you just get to see the enemies where they're at. But now in Arcade, you do not have to aim pretty much at all. It does everything for you. It does the leading for you. It does everything. All you gotta do is put your cursor on the vehicle itself and fire. As you can see right here, I can just do this. I'm not going to aim anything, and then we're just going to go to this battleship and shoot. So we're going to shoot this one round, and we're going to see where it hits. It should hit basically where I aimed at, and I did not have to aim literally at all. It's just that the AI did it for me. Well, it's not say the AI, but the computer did it for me, and well, it's probably going to hit exactly where I put my cursor at. A little bit low because it is going to have like RNG and stuff, but as you can see right there, literally no effort at all whenever it comes. It's like, let's say I want to hit a salvo right there. Everything at it. Let's see if it actually is able to hit exactly where I put my cursor without basically doing anything, which I think quite is crazy. I mean, I understand for a lot of people this is very controversial. I'm in the favor of this probably shouldn't be added. Because, well, for one, Arcade is not really a mode that I would say people play because it is like more noob friendly. They play it because it's easier to actually just get into, and it's like more just like better because, like, let's say if you have a torpedo boat, well, you get reloads. Let's say you have a vehicle which has like anti-ship missiles, you get reloads. So I feel like for a lot of people that's why they play that. But so at the same time, that's a little bit controversial, but yeah, it is coming to the next War Thunder update. We have wonderful Harry Hopkins here. I do have to put this in here. But yeah, let's get on to the little next thing. All right, so next thing that they've actually changed in this War Thunder dev server is you're actually able to do some more profile updates, which I think honestly is pretty cool. So you got Vehicle Collector, you got Aces of Spades, you have Medalist, which means that you're able to put out all your medals that you've earned, and then also Achievement Hunter, which means that you can get some of your Steam achievements and put them in here as well. The thing that's kind of confusing though is with Aces of Spades, I would assume this 1953 number would be similar to this one, but I'm missing a couple of vehicles, I guess, whenever it comes to spaded something, or there's just something wacky going on. But yeah, these four right here and you, which I think is honestly pretty cool. It's basically reintroducing stuff that we had before, which I mean, honestly is a little bit of a knife's edge, I do have to say. But yeah, as you can see, this is pretty cool. I do enjoy this sort of thing. And personally for me, I kind of like the actual vehicle one because you're able to put out 3 vehicles whenever it comes to your like favorite vehicles or something like that. Plus it shows how many vehicles that you've earned just in general, and it sees how much you play the game throughout all the nations. So if you ever want to know, does Dog play majority of the nations? Yes, I don't play just one. I play many of them, and I do enjoy the game playing like that. So one thing that they're also changing, and I'm just the messenger on this, and you can comment whatever you want in the comments about it, but they're changing the way that the turret carousels on most of the like top tier MBTs actually behave. So the ones I know of right now, at least, is the Leopards, the Leopard 2s, and then also the good old Abrams. So what does this mean basically? Well, this is your horizontal aiming drive, which means that if this gets took out, so like let's just say that you get shot by your own round, let's just do M82982, and you get shot in the bottom down here even, and it hits this vertical aiming drive and destroys it, you can't turn your turret. So as long as they take that out, majority of tanks, especially if you take out like the engine where they can't actually use their, you know, actual tank like whole aiming in a way to actually shoot at you, well, you're basically gone. So as you can see, this is the dev server. We'll go back to the live server and actually test this out as well, but it basically works the exact same for the Abrams and as well as the Leopard 2s. So as long as you get shot in this bottom hole down here, even the turret ring itself, your horizontal aiming drive has a huge chance of getting took out, which I mean, honestly is just very, very, very concerning. Now, this ammo probably won't be there, but as you can see, if you shoot down in this bottom right there, your turret rotation is pretty much just going to be out because this thing is now exactly huge. And for example, we're on the live server here. As you can see, the turret rotation thing of the Abrams is not that huge, and there's not really many areas to hit. Like if you hit over in here, you'll take it out. But like if we do the exact same test that we was doing on the dev server, as you can see, if you shoot at this lower plate, well, yes, you'll take out the driver. The horizontal turret ring actually stays intact unless you shoot in like this sort of area, and most time it get took out like if you do that. But like this shot right there is going to take out your horizontal pretty much every time. So it's going to be a very interesting little update. Basically, if you get pinned from the front in an Abrams or a Leopard, I don't know, it seems like your turret is no longer going to be able to turret. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit concerning. But yeah, especially with the fact that like APFSDS goes to the back of tanks, like as soon as you get your turret rotation took out right there and then it hits your engine, well, they're just going to get easy shots into you if they're not already pointed towards you, which I mean is a little bit concerning. But yeah, let's get on to the next thing, which is going to be the Ariete, not the tank, but the actual aircraft. So the next thing we have here is the Ariete, which actually is coming in like a Yak 9K. I understand it's a little bit concerning, but instead of having just this round right here, which is HEIT, you actually have an APHE round now. Now, the pin on is not the best. I mean, at 0 degrees at 10 meters, which you'll never probably ever see, you'll probably see like the 500 meters. So it's going around like 24. Like you have 24 millimeters of pen with an APHE. So, I mean, it's going to be kind of good at killing like ground targets in air. But I mean, for ground forces, I mean, it's going to be usable, especially if you fly like treetop level and you're able to shoot at different tanks and stuff like that, like the SPAs that have no armor anyways. Like this thing's going to be pretty lethal. And especially since the Ariete is one of those like planes that can just pull energy like crazy, like it should be able to defeat pretty much any single aircraft that it finds within like a ground RB game. The Sagittario 2 also is getting this as well, so that's also good for it. So you'll be able to use it on that. And then also, if you do have the super rare premium, the P16, since it has the exact same cannons, you're also getting the APHE on this one as well. So honestly, I mean, it's a pretty unique little thing to add to the Arietes, but we'll have to see how it does. Maybe it will be like the Yak 9Ks of where it's just insane. But I'm kind of saying on this part is that like you're going to face a lot of radar SPAs at 9.3 and 9.0. So I don't know. I kind of feel like this one's going to be a little bit meh whenever it comes to actually using it as cast, but we'll have to see. Maybe someone can actually do something very well with it. And then for our final thing, whenever it comes to features which have been added to the War Thunder dev server, we actually have a Vulkan beta now, which is actually pretty interesting. I'm running it right now. So far, like testing it, you can't turn on DLSS or anything like that. And also you can't turn on low latency, which is also probably a problem, but it should be able to make it to where people on like Linux and stuff should be able to play the game a little bit easier. But at the same time, I mean, for me at least, DirectX 12 seems like the one that's been running the best for me. But yeah, Vulkan is here. If you use it, if you want to use it, it's here. I mean, that's all I really got to say about it. The only problem that I do see is that there's no DirectX like 11 anymore. So if you were playing that one and you enjoyed that one a little bit more, well, kind of a little bit of a bad thing. Yeah, you can also not put ray tracing on with the Vulkan as well. So we have to see. DirectX 12 for me at least runs a lot better whenever it comes to War Thunder. But if you do want to use Vulkan, you can use it. But yeah, I do hope everyone had a wonderful video. Make sure to like and sub to the video. It's always very much appreciated. And also put in the comments, what's your favorite thing coming in the War Thunder dev server? Let me guess. For a lot of you, it's probably this right here, isn't it? That good old Hornet, the F-18, or even stuff like the, where is it at? I thought I had it lined up. Oh no. Oh, where's it at? Here we go. The SU-30. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. This thing is incredibly fun to fly. And that's about it. I don't really want to play it, but I do enjoy doing backflips and doing just random things because it's really fun to do on test drive. So I did enjoy doing that. Well, hope everyone has a wonderful day. And I'll see you guys in the next War Thunder video.